Hello and welcome to the Spirited Debate. I'm Lauren Green. There is a heavy weight on our nation. The shootings in Dallas that left 5 police officers dead, and the shootings of black men by police officers in Minnesota and Louisiana that sparked the violence. What can people of faith do? How can faith quell the rage and bring healing? Joining me now with his take is A.R. Bernard. He's senior pastor of the 30,000-member Christian Cultural Center here in New York City. Welcome, Pastor.
Hello, Lauren. It's good to be with you.
First of all, I just want your reaction to the shootings in Dallas.
You know, I waited overnight. I was up late last night listening to the news, trying to make sense of what was happening, and I knew I had to post something on social media, so I waited till this morning, and all I could come up with is it's just wrong. Wrong for police and wrong for citizens. All lives matter. And we're going to have to take a serious look at what's happening in our nation, and it's going to require collective effort, not one group, not one movement, collective effort coming together to make a difference. And people are going to be required to take on some very serious selflessness in order to make this happen. You know, everyone is a victim in these situations, Lauren. There are no winners when we take, such extreme action. And in order to change the narrative, we will need to engage in what I said before, some very serious selflessness. That young man in Dallas who was a shooter, he seems to have reached a very deep emotional and psychological and spiritual burnout. And there are a lot of people like that. This doesn't condone, endorse, or justify what he did, but I understand how a person can come to that point in frustration.
You know, I want to speak to that because the suspect said he wanted to shoot white officers. Do you understand the community rage that's behind this kind of violence? Do you understand where it comes from?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's a disproportionate number of African-American men, especially, who are incarcerated, who are part of the mass incarceration as a result of decisions that were made politically over the last 2 decades. There is the realities that African-American men live with, and that is that, there is a strong possibility that they're going to have a negative encounter with law enforcement. Let me say that in the black communities across the country, especially here in New York, all right, African-Americans and Latinos are not angry with the police. They're not at odds with the police. They have a good relationship with the police. They want the police in their neighborhoods. But they realize that police procedure and police policy still allows police officers, not all of them, but a few individuals, to really step over the boundaries of courtesy, professionalism, and respect, which every police officer should engage in.
Governor Mark Dayton of Minnesota said that if that gentleman in the car had been white, chances are he would not have been shot. First of all, do you agree with him on that? And plus, what triggers a different reaction from a police officer to a black male?
I will tell you that is a very strong and influential perception in the minds of the black community, especially black males. I have been profiled and pulled over by police, and if it wasn't for my relationships with the police department, I would have been mistreated. It was in the middle of potential mistreatment that they realized who I was and changed their tone. Why is that? That shouldn't be. There should not be a double standard. There should be an equal standard for policing all communities. So African Americans live in that reality. I heard one individual on the news this morning say that, police feel like targets. I understand that. I get it. But African American males have felt like targets for a very long time. Again, this does not justify what was done, but it is the reality in which African American males and Latino males have lived. We're looking at a community of people who, after 100 years of supposed change in America, we are still, many of us, disenfranchised and marginalized and the victims of racism.
I just want to ask you really quickly, with that in mind, how can you change or transform the relationship between the community and the police?
You know, I will say that to the credit of the Dallas Police Department, and I'm aware of some of these programs because I work with our New York City Police Department, and I'm aware of police departments across the country who are engaged in community policing, building a better relationship between the community and the police officers. I'm a product of the 60s. I was part of the 60s revolutions and the 60s social upheaval and the 70s. And I will tell you that early in the 60s, there was this relationship with the cop on the beat. They know who our parents were. They knew us by names. There was this relationship. But then when social upheaval took place, crisis took place, killings of police officers took place, they pulled the police officer off of the beat, put him in a squad car, all right, and then gave him high-powered weapons in response to what was taking place. And I will tell you, since that time, the relationship between police and community has not been the same.
All right, I want to thank you so much, Pastor A.R. Bernard from the Christian Cultural Center here in New York City. Thank you so much.
It is my pleasure.
And for the latest on the shootings and other top stories, go to foxnews.com. I'm Lauren Green, and thanks for watching A Spirited Debate.